What if the reason you're not getting what you want at work has nothing to do with your talent or effort and everything to do with where and how your literal physical workspace is set up? In the next few minutes, you're going to walk away with a simple way to diagnose career stuckness through changing your workspace. Because maybe you want more money, more growth, more work life balance, more freedom, more stability, more belonging, more meaning. Most people try to close that gap by doing more special projects to prove your worth, more networking to meet the right people, more closing of skill gaps to remain relevant, more soul searching to figure out what the heck am I doing? But what if the issue isn't effort? What if your literal environment is stagnant and needs an upgrade? Welcome to Feng Shui, the ancient practice of arranging space to direct energy towards specific outcomes. Stay with me because I'm going to share three small, smart feng shui shifts you can try today to get your energy moving again just by changing your physical space. Hi, I'm Laverne McKinnon, and welcome to Moonshot Mentor Community. If you're navigating a high stakes change, a career transition, or leading a team through uncertainty, you are in the right place. I'm a speaker, a career strategist, and a grief coach, and I love working with leaders, teams, and individuals to cut through the noise, regain traction, and make clear, aligned decisions spiritually, strategically, and tactically. Now, if after this you find what I had to say useful, please follow or subscribe because you'll get weekly insights on leadership, culture, and career transitions. All right, let's dive in. What is feng shui really? Feng shui means wind and water, movement and flow. At the center of feng shui is the concept of qi. It's spelled CHI or QI, depending on where you're looking it up. So qi is life force energy. Think of it as the vibe moving through you and everything around you. In feng shui, qi either flows or it stagnates. When qi flows, opportunities circulate. When qi stagnates, things stall out. So this isn't just mystical language. This practice has been around for thousands and thousands of years, and it is so widely used today by Western culture, everyone from interior designers to architects to entrepreneurs. I've been familiar with feng shui, I don't know, for decades and decades, most of my adult life, but I didn't actually experiment with it until it became clear in 2020 after lockdown that working from home was not going to be just like a couple of weeks. So I applied some simple feng shui principles to my home office because it was no longer temporary. And it was really interesting because I literally saw my space declutter, but my mind also had a kind of spring cleaning. And so over these last, 5 or 6 years since lockdown, the entertainment industry has been going through massive changes, contractions. And so I was able to use these feng shui principles and techniques to help me sort of declutter and bring fresh energy into my thought process. And so I wound up making a decision to pivot out of my career in the entertainment industry into being a full-time career strategist and grief coach. Here's the thing. Your environment shapes your nervous system shapes your decisions shape your career. So from an energetic lens, she attracts what you circulate. So if your space, your workspace, is feeling heavy, cramped, chaotic, or stale, that's the frequency that you're reinforcing every single day. People talk about how they've plateaued or their careers have stalled out, which is another way to say stagnant. Or maybe there's a general sense of malaise. It's all fine. I don't want to rock the boat. I'm lucky to have a job in this economy. Or there's a real sense of fear and anxiety. What if this is it? Before you go any deeper into any one of those rabbit holes, consider that your workspace may be under supporting you. Here's the part that most people miss. Stagnation is not just a feeling. It actually has a physical footprint. So it shows up in what's around you and what you keep postponing or what your eyes have gotten used to skipping over. So stagnation in your workspace might look like piles that you keep meaning to sort, or objects that are tied to roles that you've outgrown, broken items that you've learned to live with, or a workspace that feels dim, cramped, or forgotten. So if you want to attract more money, more visibility, more recognition, more stability, clear what is it moving. Energy needs circulation before it can compound. So I'm going to share with you 3 feng shui shifts to move career energy. Now, I want to be clear, I am not a feng shui expert, but I tried these shifts when I was expanding my career and they worked really, really well for me. The first one, which I basically alluded to already, which is removing one stagnant object. So it's just choosing one item in your workspace that represents a task or maybe a part of your job that you resent, a rejection that you're holding on to, maybe an identity that you've outgrown, something that has broken that you've ignored. Get rid of it. Stagnant objects hold stagnant chi. So one of the objects that I removed was a ring light that I had bought when it became evident that lockdown was going to go on and on and on. And I will confess that I purchased that ring light because I thought I was supposed to, because I wanted to look good on Zoom, but it felt so inauthentic and it was incredibly bright. And also it was huge. It like took up so much space on my desk. I felt like my desk was designed to uphold this ring light. And when I got rid of that thing, wow, I felt so much lighter. I felt more authentic. I felt more like me. Now, in transparency, I did get another ring light, but one that was much smaller and just like had softer um, lighting settings. Once I removed that light, I felt more like me, and that gave me confidence to make some hard decisions. Psychologically, stagnant objects create identity friction. Energetically, they trap movement. So clearing stagnant objects, it creates space for fresh circulation. And honestly, one more thought on this is that sometimes the stagnant object, it's actually not a thing. It's a professional relationship that's run its course. And not in like a vicious, mean way, but more like an honest assessment. And we talk a lot about assessment over judgment in the moonshot community. And so that honest assessment might say that this relationship is no longer serving you. I had an actor client who parted ways with their agent and booked more jobs after that without getting a new agent. They felt freer to pursue opportunities and to make use of relationships that they had that the former agent never went after on their behalf. So this actor just felt like by removing that relationship that they were freer to pursue the things that felt right to them. Okay, the second one is activate your money flow. If you're trying to attract more money, but your environment signals neglect, there's a big, big mismatch. So take a look at the space where you spend the most of your time working. Let's say it's a desk. And when you're seated, look to the far left corner because that in feng shui represents wealth and self-worth. And you place something living there. A small plant is ideal. Living things grow slowly and steadily, and they require attention and they reflect investment. So, in feng shui terms, you're signaling that money is welcome to grow here and that you have the capacity to tend what you earn. So, I have my MBA and I use MBA techniques all the time to sort of figure out revenue and how to maximize my money flow. So, ROIs, KPIs, looking at funnels, all of that type of thing, SEO, blah, blah, blah. I cannot say for sure that I'm actually going to show it to you that my pretty little plant that blooms with flowers that it's responsible for the revenue of my business. But I do want to acknowledge that when those flowers bloom, I feel better. I feel energetically more expansive. And then that gives me the confidence to do the things that I want and need to do. Number 3, use a mirror to expand stuck energy. In feng shui, mirrors are used to redirect and expand qi because they bounce light. They create the illusion of space. They shift the flow of energy without requiring actual structural change. So I want to tell you a little quick story about my client, Jess, who used this technique, and it was pretty awesome what happened. Just within the same role for 5 years, and she literally felt boxed in by cubicles and a lack of opportunity for advancement. Using feng shui, she placed an Art Deco mirror that belonged to her grandmother on her desk to gather good energy. The mirror was from the 1930s and it reminded her of just how strong and brave her grandmother was. And honestly, just gave her a little more courage and lift. Now, this is important. She placed the mirror where it could capture light from a window and send it back into her workspace. Now, in what some people might call a fluke, her boss's boss noticed that Art Deco mirror and asked about it, and they ended up talking about feng shui. It turns out he dabbled in it too, and he was so intrigued, not just by the mirror, but why just brought it in. And while no magic promotion came about that was going to alleviate her being in the same role for years and years, her boss's boss assigned her a handful of special projects over the next 6 months, and that gave her two significant wins and it increased her visibility. She was able to use those wins and that visibility to revamp her resume, and she wound up finding a great job outside of the company. And she left with her boss's blessing and endorsement. That mirror was not for decoration. It was an energetic amplifier. When she hits a wall, it stops. When she hits a mirror, it moves. So one rule, and this reflects back what I said about where Jess placed that mirror, don't aim it at clutter. Mirrors expand what they reflect. So reflect light, order, and something that feels like the version of you that you're becoming. Feng Shui is such a rich opportunity to look at your environment and how it affects your state of mind and your well being. Remember, your environment shapes your nervous system. Your nervous system shapes your decisions. Your decisions shape your career. So after you make one feng shui shift, just observe. Do you feel clear, less irritated, more decisive? Energy shifts are subtle before they're obvious. Now, if you're as excited and intrigued as I am about feng shui and you have questions and comments, I gotcha. On Thursday, March 12th at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I'm hosting a live conversation on Substack with feng shui expert Dorina Kors about how to apply these principles intentionally to our work lives. And we're going to talk about what chi attracts, what that actually means in real life, and how to get things moving again by making changes to your environment. We'll cover what to tweak when your career feels stalled, even if you're doing everything right. And we're going to share practical shifts you can make without a perfect office or a big budget. If you've done the mindset work and the strategy work and something still feels blocked, I think this conversation is for you. Mark your calendars and bring your questions to this Thursday's live event on Substack. And if you can't make it, there will always be replays. Now, before we go, hold up because I want to say a big thank you to Amanda Kennedy, our social media and digital strategist, and to Lauren Deacon for leading all of Moonshot Mentor operations and brand integrations. And thank you so much for being here. Until next week, keep going after your moonshot.